This is episode 123.
Wow.
Welcome to Wellness in Every Season, the podcast where we explore the rich tapestry of wellness in all of its forms. I'm your host, Autumn Carter, a certified life coach turned wellness coach, as well as a certified parenting coach dedicated to empowering others to rediscover their identity in their current season of life. My goal is to help you thrive both as an individual and as a parent.
Wow.
Today I have with me Judith Belmont. I am very excited for this one. I can tell that I'm going to nerd out, and she has quite the resume, let me tell you. She is a retired psychotherapist, and I could end right there. She's been doing this for a very long time. She is all about mental health, and she can talk on all kinds of topics, so we'll see where we go. I'm very excited for this. Tell me more about you. I know that you have a website with lots of resources on there, which is
Yeah.
amazing. You just sound like you have a wealth of knowledge, and I'm super excited to share everything
Thank
about you
you.
with everybody
Thank
else.
you. That's really nice of you. I was a therapist for over 40 years, and now I do some mental health coaching online, but also my specialty has been hands-on practical tips in the different books that I've written. That I just came out with my 11th book, which is 110 tips and tools. And basically, it's practical hands on strategies to live a healthier life and
Yeah.
to give up self defeating beliefs.
Ooh, that is big. I know
Uh,
so many people that struggle with it. I've struggled with it. I'm still walking that journey, and any help that you can get, pick it up, take it. Do you have a
right?
book next to you so you can show us what it looks like?
Yes, I do. Yep,
Yay!
it's right
Show
over
us your
here.
baby, your latest
Okay.
baby.
This came out a couple weeks ago. It turned out a lot bigger than I thought. It's very, very meaty. It's probably biggest, most comprehensive book that I've written. On the computer, when I was writing it, it didn't seem like it was going to be this huge thing, but it ended up being a very big resource. I'm excited about it. CBT stands for cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognitive is mind, behavior is behavior. So basically, it's changing the way you think to change your feelings and change your behaviors if you want to make changes in your life. And if you just want to enhance your life and just be more emotionally well, it has tips for being more resilient and dealing with stress the best you can to be the best person you can be.
I'm glad that you explained what it is because I already know, so I was just gonna keep going. Thank you. Our listeners, so many of
Right. A
them are
lot of
thanking
people,
you.
CBT is the most widely adopted therapeutic orientation in the world. Most people have some kind of CBT influence in their practice. It's a very hands on approach that teaches life skills. And it just doesn't talk about the importance of being positive, for instance. It teaches you how to be positive. In my book, as well as other CBT books, is always how to cognitively reframe, restructure your thoughts, how to identify and differentiate a thought from a feeling. It's not something we often are born with and can learn organically. Maybe our upbringing didn't teach us the greatest lessons how to communicate or think clearly. So it's important sometimes to learn skills that we're lacking, even though they're very rational, reasonable, and make a lot of sense. A lot of people learned Pig Latin when they were younger. They didn't learn a real healthy language of emotional intelligence. Helps people learn to think more clearly, to feel the best they can, because you can't change feelings, but you can change your thoughts that affect those feelings.
That absolutely makes sense to me, but that's because of my own journey. I actually cheat. You can't see it right now, but I have the feeling wheel right
Oh, do
above me
you? Oh, wow. That's
just for
cool.
that reason. Because when I
Very
was in
cool.
my therapy sessions, my therapist would, "How do you feel about that? Hold on." And then I'd have to look and be like, "This one resonates the most." And even just being able to label it was releasing for me. But I didn't grow up with that. So I didn't
Right.
have that language, that skill set. That absolutely makes sense to me. And I'm trying to teach my children a bigger vocabulary than I have. Can you tell I'm
That's
still stumbling? It's
fabulous.
still such a journey for me. And therapy-wise, it can be frustrating to realize it is a journey. It's not a, "Okay, I'm fixed."
Yeah,
but
yeah,
there
there's
can be
no
excitement
quick.
with it too.
Absolutely. It's the journey along the way and the excitement along the way, but you never look at anything like, I'll be happy when I achieve this or when this happens or this benchmark, because too many people are very disappointed. It doesn't give them the happiness that they thought. The happiness really comes from the journey of growing and have what's called a growth mindset, where you stumble, you learn, you can fail, but you don't define yourself by those disappointments and failures, but you evolve and you keep on going. So, to dovetail what you were talking about with that feeling chart, is one of the CBT tips that I have in my book is to differentiate thoughts and feelings. A lot of times people mix them up. And so, no wonder why they can't change their feelings because they don't even know it's a feeling versus a thought. And I'll give you an example. Someone said to me, like about a year ago, he said, I feel like you, there was like a board member of my condo association. I feel like you think, I feel like you're criticizing me that you think it's my fault this happened. And first thing, that was not true. I feel like you're criticizing me. That isn't a feeling, that's a thought. And therefore, he felt bad or he felt sad. A lot of times people don't differentiate. And so therefore they sound irrational. And so the thought that someone has, you can actually change because you can challenge it. You can see if there's cognitive distortions. A feeling, you can't say, oh, I shouldn't be hungry now. I shouldn't feel hungry. I shouldn't feel this. You can't change it, but you can change the thoughts that lead to it.
Tell us what cognitive distortion is. I know you're gonna explain it way better than I can.
Well,
Different.
cognitive just the concept of cognitive distortions is one of the hallmarks of CBT, which is that when we have faulty habits of thinking, we are going to suffer. So, for example, if you say, I talked to someone this morning, and this was not a client, this is a friend that I was walking with, and her husband just decided he didn't want to be married anymore and found someone else. And she said to me, I feel like a failure. And so I said, that's a cognitive distortion, failure. Labeling yourself, labeling is a distortion. And the other thing is you're taking responsibility for someone else's choice. So you are self blaming. That's another cognitive distortion. She said, I was such a good judge of character, I thought, but I didn't realize who I was married to for 40 years. So that's the should. Should is another cognitive distortion, that I should be a better judge of character. All or nothing thinking. I'll never get over this. He was the only one for me. That's all or nothing thinking is a cognitive distortion. Jumping to conclusions. He didn't want to be with me. I must be unworthy. So there's a lot of faulty habits of thinking that we learn along the way, particularly if there's a difficult situation and we don't even know we're thinking. And so to identify, I have in my book diaries, logs, self tests to help you identify, what are my cognitive distortions and how can I dispute them so I can reframe it in a different way. So what I said to her, let's try it today, because she read my book. We were talking about my book. I said, well, you read about cognitive distortions. How else would you phrase it? She says, I don't know. I feel like a failure. And that's it. I said, actually, you think you're a failure and therefore you feel very sad, separating the thoughts and feelings. So let's look, it's okay to feel sad, but let's look at the thought that's causing it. She says, I don't feel like I'm really, I realize I'm not such a special person after all. I said, in his eyes, maybe you're not as special, but your worth has never changed. So a lot of times we think in very unhealthy ways, and we need to be more factual. So I said, a more factual way is, it's not that I failed. It's just the marriage didn't turn out the way I thought it would, and I'm disappointed. One is you take all the responsibility and blame. And another one, you're thinking clearly, you can still be disappointed, but you're not going to be as devastated and depressed. It's up to you how bad you're going to react based on those thoughts.
So it's the stuff instead of taking it on. here it is here. I like that. Oh my goodness. Can we all be your friends? Can we all go for walks together? That's
I would love
amazing.
to be your friend. You sound
I'm gonna
lovely.
pick up your book, and I have somebody in
I
mind
hope
for
so.
me and then
Thank
for
you.
somebody else. That sounds amazing. And
Thank you.
we have it linked in the show notes, so don't worry, keep listening. What if you have these thoughts, but you don't realize them? They're in the background.
That's why when clients would tell me, I feel really bad, I've been panicky this week about this, the first thing I ask them is, what are the thoughts that go through your mind? Because people can say, don't panic. I know people might say, oh, calm down, don't get worried about it. I find that extremely annoying when people say that because what do they know?
You get
But
annoyed, and then it, like, turns up the volume on it after you're annoyed.
please don't tell me what to feel, whatever. But it is important to look and see if your thinking is healthy, and you have to tease that out. If you're feeling, let's say, panicky, you say, okay, what are the thoughts? You write them down and then you look. Are there any cognitive distortions there? Are there any words like should, always, never, terrible? Like I remember this client years ago. She came in, she had just separated from her husband, going through a divorce, and she used all those words. It's terrible this happened to me. I can't stand it. All this out of control thinking. And I taught her about all this. I'm going to write down what your thoughts are. And I wrote them down and I say, okay, let's take it one by one. Let's see if we can reframe it so you can feel empowered. So I can't stand it. I said, is that actually fact or fiction? Can you stand it? Are you going to melt into the ground? Can you stand it, but you just don't like it? Yeah, I just don't like it. Okay. So let's rephrase it. I don't like it and it hurts very badly. Okay, that's fine. He was the only one for me. I said, is that rational? To me, that sounds like fortune telling. That's a cognitive distortion. So just separating and teasing out these thoughts. And then the next time she came in the next week, she said, I was upset this week with my soon to be ex and how unfortunate. Oh, I love that word. So instead of terrible, awful, it's unfortunate because I showed her a language of realistic and not so extreme. All or nothing thinking can lead to a lot of issues. But when things are unfortunate, sure, you're not going to deny that you don't like it, but it's not going to be paralyzing anymore.
Oh, and you can take it in the opposite way. We'll talk about that in a second. But I'm curious, how much did her posture, like, her aura, all of that
Yeah.
change as you went through all of that just in that one session? Just having that, "Oh, I can picture it myself." I'm just curious.
I remember I just remember that when she said, "I love that word, unfortunate." So I don't remember much more about, but I remember her smiling when she said it, and she felt more empowered. And I would say in general, the people that I've seen a lot of people over the my lifetime, either people that I just know, but also clients. People feel lighter when they have control over their lives. Stress is inevitable, and stress is not necessarily bad for you. We thrive on stress. How about getting married, having a child, going on vacation? Stress is the spice of life, but too many people try to avoid stress because they think it's bad for them. The bad stress is only when you're not in control of it. When you manage stress instead of carrying it, you can embrace it and you can love it. And so when people don't see the stresses in their lives as roadblocks, but they see them as opportunities to be resilient, they're generally happier. They smile more. They're not as rigid. They're more forgiving of themselves. They're more forgiving of others. It's a mindset that's very important for happiness.
And I forgot what I was gonna ask you next. Oh, what about the people who go in the opposite direction, and they just rose-colored glasses for all of it?
I just think that's silly because, like, when people say, oh, everything turns out for the best, no, it doesn't. How about a fatal diagnosis? How about the death of a loved one? How about a tragic accident? That's not for the best, but that doesn't mean that we can't be resilient as survivors of a tragedy or a loss. So it doesn't mean that the buck stops here and we'll never be happy again if we have someone in our lives that are ourselves. You recognize it and you are realistic about it. The rose colored glasses are, if they're people like, don't worry about it, life's too short, that's just silly. It's okay to worry about things. It's okay to be in pain. It's okay to go through the grieving process. But to be optimistic means that you have given up those cognitive distortions and the self limiting beliefs that keep you stuck. You could be positive without being silly about it.
So don't need a pendulum. Just find that middle road.
Exactly. Or you can experience the highs and the lows, but have the tools and the skills to bring you back to the middle.
Makes sense. Okay, here's a question that just popped in my mind. What is your favorite part of your book?
I have, every time I look at it, I have a new favorite.
Oh no.
But
What's your favorite today?
so I'll tell you what it like pops into my mind right now. I really am into metaphors. I love metaphors. I love analogies. And
Too.
so I have, and that's my thing. I didn't really get it from anyone else. And it's in every single one of my books. Is the metaphorical toolkit. And so let's say you want to manage your stress. I have a stress management toolkit idea where you assemble things that you have around the house. Maybe you find them in your purse or you find them whatever, and you put them like in a box or a jar or whatever. And you put it, let's say, in your kitchen counter to remind you of stress resiliency skills, but they're actual things. And when I would do live workshops and presentations and trainings and speaking, I always had them assemble a toolkit. Sometimes it would be, oh, look in your purse and your wallet and whatever, and find things that symbolize change or find things that symbolize. So, what would an example be? How about a Hershey hug and a kiss to put in your thing? Reminding you of the importance of kindness, self love, self compassion, and empathy for others. That would be an example, the importance of that. How about an eraser? It's okay to make mistakes. You don't have to be perfect. And this is a fun activity with children, by the way. How about a stress ball? A stress ball is spongy. It doesn't lose its form. It gets crushed, but it goes back to its original shape. It can roll with things. It can float. So it shows some of the traits of resiliency. How about just a pencil or a pen? That it's up to you to write your life story and change your narrative if you want. Those are just some examples. I would go sometimes with my kids to the dollar store. They would pick out things that would represent, like a soldier, to be brave and to realize the courage you have within. You can have a lot of fun with a metaphorical toolkit.
Oh, that sounds super fun. My oldest, actually, my two oldest, and I would have so much fun with that.
Yeah.
Step
And it
aside,
could
daddy. It's
be
my turn to have fun with them. He's the
exactly.
fun parrot.
Seems like you're pretty fun too. But let's say your child has a problem with containing their anger. You can have an anger management toolkit. Like, what are some of the things that would be good for that? Maybe have a little notebook. I'm going to write it down when I'm really mad and put a little notebook in the toolkit, and you can have fun with it.
I love that. And I was talking to a friend maybe a year ago, and I was talking to her about my oldest. And because he's my oldest, it's uncharted territory every time with him. And I was commenting on different things that I was seeing with him and how do you handle this? And do you have advice? And she's, oh, you're in the angry years. They lasted for 2 years with both of my kids. Just buckle up. So the anger management one, I'm like, ooh, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
Okay, so I had
cool.
more questions based off of the outline that we wrote together. So you went from being a therapist to being a mental health coach. What's the difference for you in your practice?
So what happened with me is that I got older and I retired and I moved to Florida like a lot of retirees do. I was in Pennsylvania. And so I didn't have a license anymore, but some of my former clients still wanted to see me. So I said, I can see you online, but that would be coaching. It can't be considered therapy because I'm not licensed. And coaching, you don't need a license. So obviously, I have a lot of experience and expertise. And then sometimes people find me online and I call it coaching. It's not covered by insurance, it's basically consulting for people mental health wise.
That's amazing because there are so many people who travel around and they still need that help. And I know for me, with the therapist that I had, she could travel, but I needed to stay in Maryland. It makes it
So
hard.
I don't worry about that, and I don't charge a huge amount, and some people might think I do, but I really don't considering what people charge nowadays for therapy, and it's great because I still get to some of my clients that I've had off and on for many years, I still get to see, just a handful now, but I also get to meet other people sometime, and I love being I have a passion for this profession, and I have a passion for writing books and just trying to make the world a better place in my little corner.
Makes sense. Okay, here's a question for past version of Autumn. I know other people that have been here. I know I'm not the only one. What do you say to people who they hear you're a therapist and they shut down and they're afraid of it? You're gonna find out something's wrong with me if I talk to you, type of thing.
That would be a jumping to conclusions, which is a cognitive distortion. So, what I would say is that person is kind of stereotyping people that are in the mental health field. And that's the farthest thing I want to do is really psychoanalyze people. But I must say I'm probably more perceptive about people just because of my experience plus my innate interest in other people. I have I've always had a passion for finding out about others and myself. I guess I would say that I don't the more confident you are in yourself, you probably wouldn't feel that way.
And you're a normal person. You're not out there
I'm just a
psychoanalyzing
regular
everybody.
person. I took a walk this morning. I had lunch. I don't know, like just a regular old person.
For me, it was more because I had a lot of abuse going on, and I thought that I was the issue when it was the abusers and their own stuff, and I was worried that something would be brought to the surface. This is wrong with you. This is why it's your fault, and it's really me wanting to go back to that version of me and just, "You're safe. Nothing's wrong with you. That is their baggage that they're trying to put on you." And I would love for other people who feel anywhere near this to try that on for size and see how that works for you because you are whole. Even if you have a mental health diagnosis where other people say you're not, you are whole and you are loved. And there is space for you here. And
It's a beautiful
Judith is
message.
here to help
Yeah,
you. So,
beautiful.
what is your website and what is on your website? Because I got excited when I saw the things that you have on your website.
Thank you. My website is Belmont Wellness, belmontwellness.com. And I do have a lot of free resources, which are handouts, worksheets, self help quizzes that you could try. I also have some videos of me being interviewed. This podcast at some point when it's being aired will be on there too. So it's a place to find me, but as another place to find me is in my Amazon author page because you could also find me on that. But I would say that there I don't have the free resources like I do in my website.
Okay, that's my next question. I heard this on a podcast and I loved the question because the answer that came out on another podcast. Which is your favorite book that you've written and why? Of course, your newest, baby, but what else?
It actually is my favorite book because as I've gotten older, I've realized that mindfulness is really important. Self compassion rules. There's things that I wasn't as focused on before. I was focused on maybe more classic CBT. And now this book includes a lot more about mindfulness because as CBT has evolved, it's included other things that aren't directly just focused on that. So I would say it's my favorite book, not just because that's the one that just came out, but I think that it has the CBT softened with mindfulness, self compassion. And I also focus a lot on communication skills because cognitive behavioral therapy, behavioral is a very important word there. You want to make sure that when you think more clearly, you feel clearly, you want to behave in a way that is healthy to others. And I think I have it all in this book, and it's exciting. But if I had to pick another book, it would have been my first. And that's 86 Tips and Tools for the Therapeutic Toolbox. And that one I did about 18 or 19 years ago. And this is part of the series. This is the fifth book in this series. And at one point, it was the number one best-selling book of my mental health publisher, who publishes a lot of books for many years, but that was a long time ago. And that was the first time I wrote tips and tools books. And I was real excited to be able to share it to the world.
That is amazing. Is there a way to purchase this as a library of
Yeah. Yeah.
the
You look in
series?
my,
So not
would,
just one book at a time?
I invite you to get a discount, and I have my book bundles and my website, and it would be my pleasure to sell them to you. Or
Why
to,
did I
not
have
to
to
you personally, but
interview?
to people.
You're
Yeah.
making my book list grow. I love books. I love self-help books. I always have as a kid, and I find that odd that I always have as a kid
I think
instead
you
of
knew
it
that
being like fairy tales or
you needed some objective help. That's
yeah.
probably how I started myself. I knew early on I wanted to be a therapist. There wasn't any other career choice for me. I knew
So
when I went to college, I was a psychology major. There wasn't even another thought of anything else. But that's because I had my own sensitivities to unhealthiness, and I needed to sort it out.
that makes sense.
So I sorted it out.
How
Took
many of
some
you
years.
listening are jealous that she knew herself that back then? That's
Well,
amazing.
no, I knew that I needed to figure it out. I didn't know myself that well. I knew that I needed to get some tools.
I'm grateful for a younger version of me of knowing what I did and did not want to have so that I have the lifestyle now. That I'm far
Exactly.
away from location-wise, everything-wise. I'm far away from my abusers, my husband. I could not have dreamed of a better person for me, and he
Wonderful.
is my best friend. I adore him. I had a dream, a nightmare that he did something last night, and I woke up this morning and he was already driving to work, and I called him like, "I don't like dream version of you," and he's like, "Yeah, he sounds awful." I'm like, "I'm glad you're
Ah,
not that person."
oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah. And he's
Well,
like,
I'm
"Do you
also
need to
blessed with a
apologize
wonderful
to me?"
husband.
Anyway, that's and it's especially talking to your friend this morning, just realizing the
Yep,
gratitude that can be there to have them be
absolutely.
your best friend and that you are updating. I love this. I heard it on another podcast from another coach, your love map. Actually, no, it's not from another coach. It is from the Love Institute. Who what are their names? Husband and wife.
I know who you're talking about. That
Gottmans. Thank you.
Gottman's, yeah,
Gottmans. Yeah.
Gottman's.
The Gottmans came up with that. It's basically updating like your Google map, but of each other, of yourself and of each other
Wow.
because we change over time. And I think it's also realizing with talking to your friend, I shouldn't have married him. I wish I'd known. You didn't know who he was going to grow into and who you were going to grow and develop into. Like, how are you supposed to know that at that young of an age? I love this. Thanks for this
Right.
conversation. Is there
Well,
anything else
thank
that you
you.
are dying to say?
I think you're fabulous. I think you
Oh,
have a no, seriously, and that's one thing. I'm very honest. I don't say things I don't mean. I think you're a fabulous interviewer. I love your energy, and I love what you said. So I can see why your podcast is so successful, and
thank you.
wishing you continued success.
Oh, you are the type of person that I would talk to, like, I would just be drawn to in a room because it's not gonna be that superficial conversation, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a deep
Mhm.
one right away, which is super
Yes.
fun, plus we're wearing the same color, so come on.
Yeah. It's not a stretch for me. Wear blue.
I love blue. Blue's my favorite color, and you are from a state right above mine, Pennsylvania. It's awesome.
Oh wow. Beautiful.
Thank you. Please check out her
Thank
work.
you.
I am going to be doing that as soon as we get off. I'm gonna be ordering that book. It's already out. It's not pre-order,
Oh
correct?
yes. Yep. It's already out.
All
Thank you.
right. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. I am your host, Autumn Carter, a certified life coach dedicated to empowering individuals to rediscover their identity, find balance amidst chaos, strengthen relationships, and pursue their dreams. My goal is to help people thrive in every aspect of their lives. I hope today's discussion inspired you and offered valuable insights. Stay engaged with our wellness community by signing up for my newsletter at wellnessinEverySeason.com/free resources. When you join, you'll have the option to receive a 5-day guide called Awaken and Unwind. 5 days to mastering your mornings and evenings, along with free guides, special offers on my programs, practical tips, personal stories, and much more, all related to wellness. By signing up for both offers on the page. Don't miss out on these valuable resources designed to help you thrive in every area of wellness. Join today and start your journey to wellness in every season. Your shares, subscriptions, and reviews help us reach more people seeking empowerment. So please spread the word about our podcast and about our newsletter. Thank you for being a part of our podcast community. I look forward to continuing our conversation, sharing stories, and exploring wellness in all of its aspects. Take care until our next episode. You can also work with me one-on-one or on demand through one of my programs by visiting wellnessineveryseason.com/programs. One last thing to cover the show legally, I am a certified life coach giving general advice. So think of this more as a self-help book. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a licensed therapist, so this podcast shouldn't be taken as a replacement for professional guidance from a doctor or therapist. If you want personal one-on-one coaching from a certified life and parenting coach, go to my website, wellnessineveryseason.com. That's where you can get personalized coaching from me for you. See you in next week's episode.